Hey, welcome to my June 2023 update on the latest current account offers, rewards, and news. I'm going to kick off talking about bank switching deals because since my last monthly update, there have been 2 new deals available. I've done separate videos on them, so I will link to them below and in the corner up here as I talk about them. So if you want more information, I'll just touch on the details here. But the first one is from Lloyds Bank. This is offering 150 quid. Now, there are some big differences to this deal, which currently is due to end on the 17th of July, although potentially they might close it early. They have done that in the past. This time around, this £150 offer is just for the Club Lloyds account, the Club Lloyds Silver, or the Club Lloyds Platinum account. And importantly here, has to be a new account. So if you already have a Club Lloyds account, doesn't matter which one of those, you can only have one, which means you'll need to downgrade to a classic account and then open up a brand new Club Lloyds account if you're an existing customer. If you don't have an account at all right now, then you don't have to worry about that. You just open up the Club Lloyds accounts. As I say in that separate video, my recommendation is the standard Club Lloyds account because you don't need, unless you do need, of course, but most of you don't need the added insurances which come with a fee with those other, the silver and platinum versions. Don't forget, as I've covered in these updates before, you can now get a year's free Disney Plus via that Club Lloyds account as well. So it's a nice all-round deal. But okay, there are a couple of changes to how this is run to how it's run before. First of all, it's 50 quid less than the last deal. Now, this has happened before. They've done £200 for the kind of bigger packaged accounts and £150 quid for the Club Lloyds account. So you never know. If you're willing to wait, they might come back with a higher paying account next year, later this year. Who knows? I'll obviously let you know in the channel if they do. But the other big change here is that in the first time in the terms and conditions, it says you cannot receive the money if you've had a switching incentive, not just from Lloyds Bank, but also from Halifax since a set date. Now, they're part of the same banking group, but previously these deals have been separate. So I imagine when Halifax next bring their switching deal through, and I would imagine that's probably going to be in July when this one finishes, there might be a bit of a crossover, but let's expect it July, if not August. And I would imagine it's going to be a bit more money as well, £175, maybe 200. Could also be the same. Who knows? Can't guarantee anything. But then I imagine that will have the same terms and conditions there as well. So it may well be that this isn't the right offer for you if you want to get more money or if you've even had that cash before from either of those banks. One quick thing here on the Lloyds switching deal, actually. Some of you have actually tried to get this money again, even though you've had it in the past or you've had the Halifax money. Some of you reported success, some of you reported failures. I've seen one report of someone who got the money and then it was taken back almost straight away afterwards. So I would again urge caution of you. The rules are you cannot get this money again if you've had it by the certain cut-off dates as detailed in the other videos. But if you don't have anything important coming along in terms of credit checks, because there will be a hard credit check for this, then you might want to give it a go. But anything important going along, or you don't want to risk losing a dummy account, then maybe give it a miss. The other new deal is also the return. This is from Cooperative Bank. It's their refer a friend switching deal. So unlike all the other switching deals, you cannot just find a link and apply and do it. You need to get the details, the account details and things like that of someone who already has a Cooperative Bank current account. Now, that might be difficult for you. I have set up over in my Facebook community. If you want the short URL to go there, becleverwithyourcash.com/community. That will take you through to the group and apply to join. I have set up a pay it forward thread in there. The idea is if you haven't got a referral so far, you can go in there, you can post that you would like a referral. Someone can then share their referral deal with you. And I'm saying it's one per person. And then you can then refer somebody else. So hopefully you'll get 250 quid from this, even if you don't have any mates around who can give you a link or you can refer to. Obviously, that's more preferential if you can. There are also some added terms and conditions this time around, which weren't there before. Again, all the information, more details in that separate video. So make sure you watch that if you want to take advantage. There is no set end date for this one. It could go at any time. Still going on. I'll give you a quick sort of heads up on what's still happening. None of the offers have finished since last time. There's still £175 for First Direct or £200 from HSBC. You cannot get both of those. I know some of you have tried. Be interested to see if anyone has managed to get money again. But broadly speaking, the rules are you cannot get the money from both of those. It's one or the other. And there is a cut-off date for that. Again, I have got separate videos about those deals if you want to check them out. Interestingly as well, just remind you here that if you are opening these accounts, go via a cashback site such as Quidco or Top Cashback, and there's generally 30 to 40 quid on top of that switching money that you can get. So it's well worth doing that. The other deals still existing are NatWest, RBS, and Ulster Bank, the third one of that group. £200 you can get at each of those. Technically, the rules are, as I mentioned in last update, only can get one of those, but many of you, including myself, have managed to get it at least twice. Many of you have got it 3 times. You've done all 3 of those. I've actually just started this week my application, finally got round to it for Ulster Bank and started that switch. So I will do, once that goes through, once I've gone through that process, I'll do a separate video detailing you how that one does work for those of you who are interested, either because Ulster Bank's the one you want to go for, or you want to try and get that on top of NatWest and RBS. Again, we don't know when those ones could end, so it could be they go before I get a chance to publish it, but if there's still time, I will get that one live. Now, nowhere near as good as getting free money, but Starling has changed its refer a friend scheme. It used to plant a tree if you referred a friend, which is all very nice, but not really giving you any financial gain. They are now giving you and the person who signs up with your referral link, wait for it, a day pass to the National Trust, which is valid for 6 months after you get it. So it is not a world changer. It's not going to be a significant difference to your finances. But if you are going to sign up for Starling and you know someone who's got an account, you may as well get this freebie if you're going to sign up anyway. Much better is that £5 you can get from Monzo, their refer a friend scheme. Again, if you know someone who's got that one and you want it free £5 each, when you want a Monzo account, why not give it a go? But they're not anywhere near, obviously, the incentives we're seeing from those other banks with those sort of £200 style deals. You never know. It may well be that at some point Starling and Monzo decide they do want to enter into that bank switching battle, particularly, and I'll get onto this in a moment, with the success of Chase, how well Chase is doing, probably taking up some of their market, although the recent sort of switching deals show that Monzo and Starling is still doing relatively well. But it may be they'll feel they have to be a little bit more competitive, maybe with switch deals. If they do, I'll obviously let you know here on the channel. But at the moment, there's no sort of sign that that will happen. So let's talk about Chase actually, shall we? Because there's some exciting news there, kind of, potentially. So Chase has finally joined the current account switching service, which means you can switch into or out of a Chase current account. Previously, you couldn't do this before. So if you are currently using Chase and you want to make it your main bank account and you can't be faffed with transferring over all the direct debits yourself or making sure you let everyone know your details have changed, then this is great. You can use the old account, move all the money over, closes the old account, obviously, but that makes things nice and easy. That's the main reason for this current account switching service. You also obviously could switch the other way. You could go from Chase into another bank. And for a lot of you might be thinking, hang on, this is a new dummy account, one that we can use to get those switching bonuses as you've just detailed. Well, yes and no, you can do that. You absolutely can do that. And the positives are Chase does not perform a hard check on your credit report. So there's no risk opening up a Chase account and using it to switch to another account. But remember, when you go through one of these switches, the old current account will close down, completely shuts. And Chase do not allow you to open up another current account once one has been closed, ever. That could change, but the current rules are, and I confirmed this with their press office, you cannot open a new Chase account once you have closed the other one. So in that case, I would personally not risk using Chase for a switching incentive because Chase has already got some really good incentives itself, that 1% cashback. Decent-ish rates on savings, although as I detailed in my savings video the other day, they can be beaten quite substantially elsewhere. But even so, there's a lot of innovation going on with Chase. There's a lot of money behind Chase. There could well be some other exciting things coming your way. If you have closed the account, you're not going to be able to access them. So I would not personally do that. If you're thinking, hang on, Andy, but you can create lots of sub-current accounts within Chase, so why can't I just use one of those? They're all still linked to that main account. If you switch out of Chase, it will close down completely. So I would not do that. Now, as part of this same thing that's allowed Chase to become part of the current account switch service is that they're also now involved with open banking. You can now use your data from your bank to draw it through to other apps. This can be really, really good. Although at the moment, only MoneyHub is actually working with Chase. I think that's a good thing though. One of the problems I've had before with these kind of apps, Snoop's another one, Emma's another, is that if you are using Chase as your main bank account, then they become slightly redundant because you can't see all your data. You can't track all the different spending and things and all the extra features that come from these apps. You can't take advantage of them. Anyway, right now it is on MoneyHub. You do have to pay a subscription in order to do this. It's £1.49 a month, or there is a slightly cheaper annual subscription. I'm sure in due course it will also be on the likes of Snoop, and I'll give you any updates that are significant here in my next video. One last thing to talk about when it comes to Chase, and is that they were pretty much won all the big awards, anyway, at least at the British Bank Awards that took place last month in London. I was actually there because the British Bank Awards are run by smart money people who I'm obviously now part of that group. And I was there hosting a table of financial journalists and financial influencers who are nominated for awards. Plus, I actually presented one of the awards, although the host, which was Dominic Holland, who's Spider-Man's dad, he introduced me as someone completely different. So something got lost in translation there. But, it was fun to go on stage and hand over an award. So it was a really lovely night. Voted for by the public. So generally the people who are winning this, they are winning because they have got a loyal following. The people who use those banks, those apps and so on, they really, really like them. And that is probably why Chase did so well. So quick headline on the main awards here. Best British Bank, Chase. Best Banking App, Monzo. Interesting. I'm not such a fan of Monzo's app anymore. I feel it's gone a little bit nowhere near as good as it used to be. But obviously the people who are using it, they really like it and voted it for the best banking app. Best Business Bank, Starling Bank. Big fan of them. I think they do a great job there for banking. Best Current Account Provider, Chase again. Best Savings Provider, Chase. I know we're not talking about savings in this video, it's current accounts, but again, another award for Chase there. Best Ethical Financial Provider, Triodos. They are top of the table when you're looking at ethical banking. If that's something really important to you, absolutely do check them out. I have got a separate video you can search for, and I'll link to it as well. And that tells you how they work. One of the problems is that £3 a month fee might put some of you off, but conversely, if you're willing to pay that, that means that they aren't putting those charges elsewhere. We all pay for our banking in some way. It's just not so apparent. So Triodos, nice to see them win an ethical financial provider. And also Plum got Best Personal Finance App. They were the big awards, many, many more ones that went on as well. But it's interesting to see there just how much Chase have kind of gone above the likes of Monzo and Starling in terms of the public vote. Now, one bank that didn't sort of make any of those awards was Revolut. And a quick update for you here. It's been years and years they've been trying to get their full UK banking license. And early this year, it looked like it might be on the cards. But just a few weeks ago, the Telegraph reported that the Bank of England was going to reject the latest application for that full license. And the full license is pretty important. It makes them a proper bank here in the UK. Not only does it mean that your deposits are covered by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, but also they could offer credit cards, all these kind of things. Again, so nothing happened on there. It looks like it might not happen. If it changes, I'll let you know. I'm personally not a big fan of Revolut. I think it tries to do too much. I think it's too busy. Some of you, I know, will disagree with me. But again, it's interesting to see this kind of what this knock on this might have. If they are rejected again, what that might mean for Revolut. And again, I'll let you know in future videos. Another sort of non-British bank has got some changes right now. Again, not fully licensed. This is Monese. Hopefully none of you are using this anymore for that hack, the Halifax Rewards hack, where you use your Halifax debit card to top up your Monese account in order for that £500 spend every month. There are different options like Revolut, like adding money to NS&I and so on. But the Monese one, earlier this year, they added a 0.3% fee for doing that. So again, I said, don't use it anymore. If you are still doing that, this is for the free version of Monese, I should say, it's going to get worse because from the 1st of August, that charge goes up to 1%. Really is not worth you doing this. In fact, Monese have not offered their discounted gift cards since the start of the year. They've not offered cash back on spending, which they did last year. Right now, I can't see any point in using a Monese account. Obviously, you can't use them to switch away because they're not part of CAS. So maybe stick it at the back of the drawer just in case some offers and promotions come back. But certainly, I would think about if that is your main current account, can you get better elsewhere from some of the accounts I've spoken about today or previously on the channel? A couple more things to talk about. Barclays, they have made some changes to Blue Rewards, or at least they're going to from the 29th of July. The Barclays Blue Rewards system has been, as I detailed before, it's a bit kind of faffy, a bit annoying. You've got 2 direct debits that got to come out every single month. You've got to pay £800 in. You've got to pay a £5 fee every single month. In return of doing that, you'll get a £5 reward, which kind of think, what's the point of doing that? Well, there is obviously that 5.12% savings account up to 5k, so that's pretty decent. But also, if you had a Barclays home insurance product, you'd also get 3% cash back on that on top. So you would actually be making a profit just from those kind of rewards and cash back. I say on the 29th of July, the home insurance cashback will end. So probably won't impact many of you, but if you do have a policy, make sure when it does expire, you don't just automatically renew it with Barclays, that you do shop around, see if you can get a better home insurance deal elsewhere, particularly since you're not going to be earning that money back from your monthly premiums. More Barclays news, but also Halifax, Lloyds and Bank of Scotland, yet more branch closures happening. For Barclays, it's going to be something like 122 this year alone. Halifax, Lloyds and Co, I think that might be a similar number combined, if not higher, than the most recent ones announced just the last few days. This is happening more and more this year, much faster than I was thinking previous years. as I've said before, if you are impacted by your local branch closing, there will be some alternatives. You could go to a post office, very limited there. It's cash in, cash out, more or less. They are going to be creating more of these money hubs in areas where there are no banks, where the different banks will share resources. Maybe one day it's Barclays, one day it's Santander, and so on. At the moment, only 4 of those have been open, but more will open throughout the year. But of course, the alternative is if you do need a branch, then why not just go to the other bank that's there and open an account with them? You don't have to switch into them, but obviously you can. And if it's one of the ones that offers switching cash, we detail at the top of this video, then maybe they're good ones to look at. Finally, some really good news if you are an active customer with the Nationwide, because they've done pretty well over the last year, about £2.2 billion in profit. So because they are a mutual, a building society, they are owned by the members, rather than sending out all these dividends and profits to shareholders, what they're going to do is they are going to give a huge chunk of that money back to some customers. And we'll come on to that in a second. This is basically set at £100 each for those who are eligible, which is really, really great. If Nationwide is your main bank, that is a lovely reward. And I really like the idea of this. Now, this isn't going to be hopefully the only time they do it. They've said they intend to do it in subsequent years, as long as their financial performance is strong enough. So again, a good reason for you to kind of use Nationwide and keep using it. Of course, they could change the terms and conditions next year, but it's worth thinking about it. If you're not eligible this year, how you could be eligible next year for a payment. So how is this going to work? Let me quickly get the article I wrote up on the blog, and that has a huge amount more detail. If you want to read all about it, head over to the blog to read that, and I will link to that up top as well. But this is basically, first of all, you need to have a current account with Nationwide, and these obviously are the main ones There's the Flex Plus, the Flex One, Flex Student, Flex Graduate, or the ones you're most likely going to have, the Flex Account, the Flex Direct, and the Flex Basic. Now, if you have these accounts, you have to, in 2 of the 3 months of January, February, and March of the start of this year, have received at least £500 into that current account from a different bank. You cannot do an internal Nationwide customer. Plus, you need to make at least 2 payments out of in those same 2 of those 3 months. Now, if that's good, that's fantastic. And of course, some of you may have switched into Nationwide in January, February, or March, in which case it doesn't matter. You don't have to have done that in those 3 months. You'll be eligible for this anyway. That's part 1. The second part is you have to have either a savings account with at least £100 in that savings account on a single day in March 2023. Okay, so you can have just £100 for one day, and it can be spread across more than one savings account with Nationwide if you've got them. It has to be on a single day. If you have a penny less, £99.99 for the entire month, doesn't make a difference. It has to be a single day with £100. Or you have to have a Nationwide mortgage which had at least £100 owing on it as of the 31st of March 2023. So there's the active current account. And again, I know I only spoke about the main ones there. Got the details over on the blog of the others if you want to look at those. Active current account and either a savings account or mortgage with £100 in it. If you do that, you'll get the money between the middle and end of June 2023. In fact, you've probably already had an email or a letter or a notification app if you're going to get it. Now, a lot of people, though, I've seen a lot of this sort of commentary and comments on the blog and comments in the Facebook group. They're not happy about this for 1 or 2 reasons. Maybe it's because they're using their Flex Direct current account, which pays 5% on the first £1.50 for the 1 year only. They're using that for their savings. So they haven't got a separate current account, a separate savings account. Or maybe they've got a savings account and a mortgage, or maybe just a savings account. They've had it for a long time and they feel left out that they're a member. Now, I get why Nationwide are doing it. They want to reward active customers. I think maybe the current account bits there are maybe a little bit strict in some ways. But again, they've got to make sure they don't give money to people like me, who's got a Nationwide account and never use it. And it sits there dormant. I don't deserve the money at all. But again, as I say, hopefully this will happen next year as well. They could change your eligibility, but it's worth thinking about if you can do some simple things, transfer some money in, make a few payments out, have a savings account such as there, start to save regular saver, which pays, I think, 5.25% every single month on only 50 quid a month. So it's not a bad account to have. Have some money in that. Hopefully you might get the money next year. As I said, that article over in the blog has all the details if you want to read more about it. And that is it for this month's update. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Andy Webb. Check out these videos here for more ways to get the most from your current account.